Good
Who stole the show on the internet?
evening, yes. Asshole and I,
BoomerRex is being lame and sick.
RisenLadyHeathen, have stolen the show
So Risen the
once
Cats
again.
and I strapped the show down onto a truck and drove it away to an undisclosed location.
Now, for our YouTube watchers...
We didn't bring the microphone. Fuck, we're dumb.
Yeah, no, that was the one. Yeah, so if the audio's fucked up, that's our fault.
Yeah.
We forgot our good microphone, so we're literally just using the one built into the computer.
Webcam mic.
Yeah, so
Ooh, fancy.
sorry guys for the bad audio tonight, but we'll remember the microphone tomorrow.
Yeah. We promise.
Yeah. We'll see how Boomer's feeling, but we'll probably do this again. But anyway, for our YouTube viewers, you are now seeing Asshole play what's that game that you've been playing? Assassin's Creed.
Yes, Valhalla.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So hopefully I'll have some real cool cuts from that game for you guys on there, and it should be exciting. And I think I played some. I have a bunch of recordings, so
okay.
we'll put stuff in there.
Yeah, I played some Hitman and recorded that. I think I made it all like 4 minutes. Because, I don't know, I just started choking people out. It's not the appropriate way.
Yeah.
Like, it was going great until it very much wasn't. And then two guys were shooting at me from different directions.
That's the problem with Hitman. If you can sneakily kill, like, a bunch of people, like, you can get away with it. But sometimes you get a little too excited, you get a little too close, you don't wait long enough for that other guard to walk away.
Yeah, that guard turns around.
And all of a sudden he's all snitchy and fuck.
On his radio and then shoot at me with a rifle.
And
I'm like, why aren't you a better first-person shooter Hitman that's not supposed to...
No, I hate
Why are you bad at Hitmaning?
I hate when those go south like that, and then you're like desperately trying to get a new, you know, outfit on and everything, and it takes a while. One time I had to switch outfits 3 times.
Yeah, no, just the
just to
cascade of
try to
fuck-ups.
recover the the game. It was crazy. But you can do it if you keep on your toes and you.
Well, the game seduced me into it because I had a couple of like good takedowns, like where this should like everyone should hear me. I'm standing like 11 feet away from the people he was just arguing with, and he went in the bushes, and bald guy came out. Sure, whatever. But it was fun.
All right.
I just wasn't in the, like, you gotta be in that right headspace for Hitman. Like, Hitman's one of those, it's like setting up that whole mousetrap game, and like, yeah, it's great when it goes through and does stuff. The 45 minutes before that are tedious as shit.
Oh god, yeah. It's so horrible. No, it's no fun.
Like, I've seen more arousing Excel sheets. So.
Anyway,
Love it, though, I do. Okay.
So we should have some very interesting stuff for our YouTubers. If you're listening to us on Podbean or your favorite podcasting app, please remember to go check out our YouTube so you can see the fun that everybody else is getting.
Or sign up for our Patreon and see the fun that only the kids who give us money are seeing.
Tonight, since it's just the two of us, we're doing discussion night. Woo!
Yay!
We need to get like one of those, but we keep talking about it. One of those pads where you can clapping.
It's a soundboard, yeah.
A soundboard, yes, thank you. He's so good at finding words for me. So we're going to start with a discussion on rehabilitating politicians in the eyes of the public.
Yep.
So we're talking about like real shitty people who have done very bad things.
Spicer and Rick Perry and the who's who of assholes.
Bush, yep.
Hey, yeah.
It's just disgusting. So these people, all right, after usually a few months in, you know, isolation or whatever, like staying out of the limelight, so to speak, sometimes years depending on the situation and such.
How big the stink and cry was over the things they did.
Exactly. So between months to years, you know, of quiet or whatever, they'll then come out and they'll be on a morning news show. They'll make their rounds on like the Today Show, or they'll do reality TV shows such as Dancing with the Stars. They do late night shows like Jimmy Fallon.
Things where they're not going to ask you anything hard or ask about, so when did you know you were lying? Because that's the kind of question that these people cannot face. And we let them do this because it lets us feel good about
whatever stupid stuff they did that we allowed to happen.
It's whenever the idiots started babbling about closure.
Right.
and the need for it, because it's not a thing. It doesn't exist. It's a nonsense feeling we willed into existence.
No, I feel like you're right. I feel like closure is confused with kind of sort of like getting over it, right?
Yeah.
They confuse the two terms. So people are like, it's closure. No, you just moved on with your life.
Yeah.
Like, it's not closure per se in the sense of like you go through.
Well, and it leads into,
whatever.
we know several people who have had a thing happen, and they have gone on to have that define the rest of their life.
Right.
And that's insane.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just the Irish in me, and like, yeah, you just get over some shit. Like,
No, but they also like to hit up daytime talk shows such as The View, or Ellen was terrible about this.
this is literally what her show was about, and including that garbage about be nice.
Yeah.
Right, that toxic niceness.
What they do is they give these people a platform again, right?
Yep.
But they also give these people a chance to
tell their side of the story.
Rewrite history to their advantage, right? By retelling the story from their perspective, where they're the injured party and they were only trying to do the best they could. It was other people, so they blame others.
Yep.
It gives them this chance to say, well, these other people wouldn't let me do this thing, so what I ended up doing was the best I could do.
Yeah, the examples you were showing me during your research were, it's just insane, right?
It's just ridiculous.
With the ability to, because again, they're telling the history as they wish it were.
Or as they saw it from their perspective, but not really, because they know what they did was wrong. They understand that they were lying. They understand they're lying now.
Yeah, and so, but they are allowed to, without cross-examination, tell a tale. Mm-hmm. And of course that tale benefits them, and we all kind of understand and expect that to be true. Yeah. But no, I think the drive on this,
it's
right?
the version that they want people to hear, and that's the problem, is that it's wrong.
Well, when we were growing up, TV had just begun doing that kind of nonsense, right? That there was beginning to be an idea of the, like, generic roadmap to, you know, being back to being good people, and
right, but it kind of lends like some sense of these people are reformed, or they did this bad thing and they dressed in blackface, but they understand the error of their ways now. You know it was wrong then. Shut the fuck up. Everybody knows that's wrong, right? That's something across the board everybody can agree with.
It is. I'd also consider it rather minor compared to the things we're letting people, right, wash away.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just using it as a very basic example that everybody can agree is wrong and has been known to be wrong for some amount of years. This isn't some new revelation of, no, back in the 50s, man, it was cool.
That's the inevitable outcome of,
50s.
for the longest time, it being sort of the goal to raise colorblind children. Right? Because we wanted an easy answer.
That's what they were talking about when we were growing up.
Was certainly
you gotta be colorblind. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I was incredibly lucky that I had
disabilities.
Right, my Uncle Rick and loads of other people who could tell me much earlier, that's a really great thing individually, but we need to talk more about some of the systematic stuff.
No, tell us a bit more about who your Uncle Rick is, because I know who he is, but most people won't understand.
My Uncle Rick is Rick Henderson. He was a jazz guy in New York, in D.C. But I grew up going and spending summers with him and stuff, and so I learned a lot about jazz, and I really like jazz to this day because of it. And, like, he taught me all my cool white people jokes. So, no,
he was a cool black guy.
Yeah. So
he sounds like an amazing man. I'm very sad
he was with me the first time I ever knew that cops weren't my friend like TV said.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't cut and dry, like, go to the cops if you need help. Because, again, they saw, right, a little white kid walking with a big, scary-looking black dude. And they got wildly involved. And it was the first time I'd ever seen an adult concerned about cops. It was probably the first time I'd ever seen an adult really interact with cops.
Right.
But
other than just like a speeding ticket or whatever, yeah.
Not even that I can remember. I
saw my dad get a speeding ticket once. He was pissed.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous because we were in a group of cars. There was like 10 cars, all of us going the same speed, and 2 of us pulled over. He let everyone else go. It was dumb.
Yep.
I was like, Dad, you should have just kept driving. It was stupid. He was so mad. But anyway. But yeah, so this whole concept of, you know, allowing people the chance, right, to rehash their own history,
to come back from the abyss
in the way they want people to look at it, which is not okay.
There's some really dumb shit
Because
tied
some of these
into it.
people are real monsters. Like, they're real terrible
They propose
people.
monstrous things.
Right.
Right? I'm
Or
sure
did monstrous things.
Right, and that's what my problem with it is it points to the most useless light. Right, it's not even introspection. It's just, it's the worst part of, right, your house burned down. Now, how does that make you feel? Journalism, with people who did things and were well compensated for being sons of bitches. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the reason I can actually genuinely respect Roger Stone. Right? Dude's a fucking political monster. Right? He's not good people.
You know, what is he?
He is a political doer of things and has been for the longest time, right? Worked for Nixon, like he was a dirty tricks guy. He was a professional rat fucker is his preferred term for his.
That's how he refers to himself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, that was his job, was to rat fuck things politically. One of the things you can do if you're an incumbent, right, is you can send your motorcade through places where the other people are doing an event. A motorcade brings traffic to a halt.
Right.
Again, there's other dirty tricks to do. One of my favorite dirty tricks in politics, because you would ask me earlier things I could talk about, and it's the actual play-by-play of politics is what I love. There was once a very scary ad about someone who was involved in more than 21 murder investigations. Yeah, because he was a cop. He was the one doing the investigation, not like they weren't trying to hang 21 bodies on him. But that's not how the ad sounded.
No.
And if you were busy or working or like driving, like you were doing any other thing with your hands, you just heard the scary tones and look out. And he was, right, 21 investigations around him. And like, oh my God, maybe he was at the center of 21 investigations because, yeah, he's the cop who's doing the investigation. God damn it. So, no, just...
That's not okay.
Recent ones. Mitt Romney pitched a perfect round Stone into the press pool by saying, well, I was never contacted by the current administration to talk about the Build Back Better thing. So we had to sell you on things are broken, we should do stuff. Like, no, but it allows us to write 8 or 9 papers about how, well, they used to socialize better, right? That's why Joe Manchin has his yacht. Is so we can have people over and they can talk about things. Mm-hmm. Right? It's very much the last vestiges of the going into the parlor to speak as men do, basically.
Right.
Right, it's the bad hierarchical part of the patriarchy. Yeah, they used to do a lot more cocaine, and that was in a period when the interest of the business class, right, the people who can buy both politicians, before their interests were no longer aligned with the working American interests.
Right.
Right, so up until the period where we detached productivity to, right, salary, everybody kind of agreed. But the 70s was deindustrialization. We had grown great and strong, building a lot of things. Light switches, you name it, we built it. And then the world kind of bought all the light switches they needed. And then what? Like, unless you make the leap to like, well, we're going to strip mine this planet and go to another one, which, no. Right, there's no science that makes that a sound idea.
No, not until we can solve the space travel.
Yeah. Oh, and the problems we have with space travel are wildly basic. Like, but it's why everyone is babbling so much about it, because a lot of this is, bankers have it in their head, they're going to go up, right, with a little robot, because it costs $48,000 to lift a pound. So, get your small-ass, lightweight robot. Good news, it won't be on Earth, so it doesn't really need to be all that strong. It just needs to survive shipping and delivery. Say a small piece of an asteroid, and then say the asteroid is likely this, right, fraction of things, and basically make it derivative nonsense. Because they've got it. It's a big gold nugget in space, and it's floating around doing whatever nuggets do.
Right.
So, unless it falls into the sun, it's always going to be out there, and it's kind of what we were babbling about before cryptocurrency got interesting to idiots that write a lot of papers. So, same with the NFTs. Like, hey, they're really...
Don't use cryptocurrencies or NFTs, you dum-dums.
Twitter's now got a $3 a month service that'll let you have a special NFT avatar. And I have like 7 Twitter accounts. I don't use any of them. So I really wanted a free pizza one day. So you get free or cheap pizza for having a Twitter account.
Really?
Yeah, you tweet something nice about Pizza Who's-Its. So sponsor us, Pizza Who's-Its.
I got a couple of those.
Yeah. The internet. Hold on. 5minuteemails.com.
Right. No, so anyway. No, that's just, this is what we're talking about. This whole concept of God,
But John Spicer is a naval officer and swore an oath before God and country not to tell lies.
Yeah, and then he
did exactly that.
Told lies, yeah.
And it's not like he was telling, right, it's not like he's a Pentagon flack, right, whose job is, yes, at some points to lie. Why? Because I don't really want to talk about where 7th Corps is. Why? Because 7th Corps is driving largely unopposed so far, and maybe let's not drive anyone to go, hey, where the fuck's that big tank army that no one's seen for a couple of days?
That is fair.
It's doing exactly the last thing you want tanks doing.
Right, and so...
But that's different, right? This is not the... Sean Spicer lied about the fucking crowd sizes to please the ego of one man. Pretty much exactly everything, every oath the military asks says, don't do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's literally the problem. The military has discussions about how to tell if your chain of command is turning into a cult. Like, there's, like, systems built in that are supposed to let you go, that's fucking crazy, boss. We're not doing that. That's crimes, buddy.
Right, yeah.
So, but we let him on Dancing with the Stars, and, right, it's so easy to say nice things, like point out the fact that, due to the fact he is a naval officer, he absolutely knows who Trump should have called to actually give orders about the transgender troops and stuff, and he didn't tell him.
Yeah, see, part of the problem with allowing these people to do these shows and such like that, and allow them their own narrative, is that it also makes them look more human, right? So when Spicer went on to Dancing with the Stars, it humanized him, right? So he went from being this stupid fucking idiot that was like Trump's pawn, basically, and was then, released out into the wilderness because, fuck.
He wasn't allowed to meet the Pope, which was like a big deal to him.
Yeah, that
because Trump could deny him something. And part of the way that people...
such a piece of shit.
That set of Americans view power is the ability to inflict pain consequence-free.
Yeah. That was such a shithole move. Like, that upset me, and I don't even fucking believe in that shit.
I don't give a shit about the Pope,
yeah.
Spicer,
no,
or anyone in this sentence.
But, like, if I was working for somebody, and they were gonna go see Patrick Stewart, right?
Yep.
And they were being shitty because maybe I didn't say something the right way, or whatever. Yeah. Didn't stick my nose far enough up their ass, right, to make them happy, whatever, and said, no, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would have quit that fucking job right then and there. Fuck you!
No, that's some high-handed shit that is exactly why we are the country we are. Mm-hmm. We don't tolerate that shit well. That's how you get your food messed with. Don't mess with people's food, the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I know you know.
No, and again, like, people who are worried about their food being messed with, it's so rare that it happens. I couldn't even tell you how many kitchens I've been in. I've heard stories, never seen it happen.
Well,
not once.
It's one of those things, a friend of mine pointed out that the people who worry about their food getting messed with are also exactly the motherfuckers who'd mess with your food.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so part of it's just a telling of who's a petty motherfucker.
Right.
Because that is, like, no, don't.
No, and I'm not saying it never happens.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we've certainly seen instances where egregiously people...
I have messed with food in non-professional environments, like, and I felt bad about it afterwards, and yeah, oh well, live and learn, right?
Yeah.
So, no, we shouldn't let them do it because it's not about them feeling better or anything else, it's about us not caring that we're not doing the shit we need to do right now.
Yeah, it's
it underwrites our
yeah.
learned helplessness to, well, without 60 votes, what are you going to do? I mean, based on current trends, die in a war
for the other guy
water.
next time, or girl.
Yeah, that's way better. Never mind my thing. We're not going to die in a war over water, the internet.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, and heart us.
Just remember, we taught you how to make Mad Max electric vehicles.
More. That's true. We did have that discussion.
Once I get an anvil, I'll teach you how to forge some stuff. It'll be great, the internet. You too can have a tow bar / grapnel.
That would be fun to have a video of you working.
Fair.
That would be pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah, I think we've kind of over-talked that at this point because I don't want to get too much. We've used some specific detail, some specific points, but we could do that all night, right? Like, we could bring up person after person after person.
Oh, because everyone does it, because, again, they're going to release their book, and that's the, So one of the things I have often, and it's not the right word because I wouldn't really want it, but been stood in awe of was the Republican grift welfare. Right, that huge segments of nonsense groups will buy your book, right, that someone ghost wrote for you, if you say the talking points loudly and well enough. And there's similar, but much more limited in scope. It is much less organized. So, and a lot of it's just that, right, the dark money groups grew along the same root structure, so it looks a lot more formidable on the Republican side. But a lot of it is, right, vanity programs from, like, the Koch brothers.
Right.
So, it's hard to say. But, I just always found it, it's one of the things that keeps Meghan McCain from saying anything too crazy or disagreeing too hard, is that her husband's livelihood is directly tied into that.
Right.
Right, that he made his money aggregating stories with black perpetrators to reinforce a very specific story of, look out, black people are dangerous.
Right, and again, we've talked about you can show video after video after video for days and days and days, and it still doesn't show the reality.
No.
But you're just seeing a small portion of.
No, but it reinforces what primetime television shows. So, no, this is the problem, and part of the the problem with Americans is we're incredibly willing to forget the bad thing.
No, that I will agree with.
And it's incredibly a strength in a lot of ways. It really does allow America to function at some level based on some of the horrific shit we've done that we don't even vaguely care about. Like the the orphan trains, the baby farms, the everything horrific, right? Every great blood-soaked puddle, but we kind of need to forget it because we got somebody to oppose, and then we found a place on the world stage kind of all of a sudden.
Right. No,
So,
again, without, whatever, I think you get our point, right?
It's just lowbrow journalism. It's not bad fucking product.
It's not okay to sell these people back to the American people after they've done terrible, terrible things or said terrible, terrible things. And in some
without
cases,
actually holding their feet to the fire about it.
Is in some cases, in very rare cases, I've seen people who have said some horrible shit and then were like, oh fuck, I'm sorry, like, it happened years ago, whatever the case may be, and I was wrong, right? And going back over what they said and explaining, look, at the time, this is what I thought. I learned later I was wrong, or I spoke to somebody of this particular whatever and found out the reality of the situation.
I got new, better, more accurate information. My opinion evolved.
And that's fine. I think that that's okay. But when you're giving people a chance to, as we discussed before, rewrite their own personal history without ever apologizing. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Without holding their feet to the fire and saying, but you did this thing. Yeah. You supported this thing.
So was this a lie? Like, there's no...
or did you not? Right.
No, there's no pushback of the... Not even old journalism, but I would never expect it today.
Right.
Right, again, I think sort of every journalist gets to get one hard-hitting interview, and then they never get to talk to a sensitive person again.
Fair.
And that's the worst part of where we're heading with the news, right? The idea of infotainment, and the fact that we're at least aware of the various segments of the population, and, like, the fact that we are looking at journalism and shaping it to advertising concepts of who this is going... Right, who are we targeting with this?
Right.
That's an insane way to write about what happened today.
Agreed.
That's because it's incredibly easy to do.
Oh god, yeah.
Right? It would be trivial to make the Ukraine. Actually, it'd be hard right now because the Republicans are really got a hard on for Russia for some really gross reasons. But, right,
Kind of, sort of, all of the major ones are in Russia's pocket in some fashion.
I'm sure. I'm sure if we looked at it competently, we'd find out that Russia has done a great deal.
And has contacted these people, and I'm sure.
I think Russia's probably heavily involved on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But you could easily write a thing about Ukraine. Tonight, BoomerRex and I were talking about what would you write, because we believe heavily that, right, America believes heavily that Russia is going to do something to Ukraine. Right, and we were agreeing. So, target logistic points, right? They're amassing ammunition and fuel somewhere. And then we came to the question of, if it's inside Russia, do you hit it? Did the United States just bomb a piece of Russia?
Right.
First off, he just made Putin wildly popular at home. Every Russian knows how to feel about that shit, Chuck.
Right.
That's Russia. And Russia's borders are kind of fungible because sometimes they take over a farm that's too close, but yeah. You bomb a part of Russia and Russians are, right, how would we feel if Russia bombed a part of America? We would freak the fuck out. We would all of a sudden be like, oh, that's right. I don't hate Americans. I hate those motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Like Florida and New York will, and California will gladly walk hand in hand and do some war crimes to some Russians. Happily.
Well, and, Vermont will be the first to declare war.
Oh my god. New Hampshire would secede and then rejoin the Union. New Hampshire put up a law to try and constitutional amendment allow it.
About that.
I need to look and see what the wording is because I'm right. If it's a thing that lets them make a vote, sure, I don't care. In fact, I kind of want that, just in proof of we're all in the Union because we choose to be in the Union. Don't be fucking dumb.
Right.
Because first off, any state that secedes should know that all federal property, we have that accounted for. Like, we know what you have. That will, like, we will find the fucking stapler, bro. Let alone the tanks and guns.
Yeah.
Or be like, okay, well, you there foreign power that has stolen U.S. government property.
We need to have a discussion about
and
that.
is right on our border because you're fucking dumb. Don't make... We wouldn't even have to drive out of the way to fuck you up if you were a state that seceded. You're probably surrounded already. We could just land grant, where you guys used to live.
And I love New Hampshire, but they've been super weak recently because they've gone hardcore Republican in a bad way. They've gone crazy Republican, and I don't like that.
I worry that's all there is, and part of this is I grew up in exactly the heyday that media wants to pretend it is. Right, the time that one of the times Joe Biden forgets what he's talking about currently to remember fondly. Right, when I worked on the Perot campaign, there were Republicans and Democrats and independents in there.
Right.
Right, there's a lot of who I am politically that got determined arguing with these people. Mm-hmm. So, and part of that was just they were adults that would pay attention to a 12-year-old, but I was also a 12-year-old that just spent all day putting up signs with them. So,
right.
Like, I've at least got some fucking skin in the game.
Right. So, no, and that's what I say when I say that you and your dad have been in politics just your whole lives. You've just been immersed in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've studied politics longer than anything else.
Yeah. So, and again, that's part of, why we're doing this here now.
Yeah.
To bring this knowledge to other people who may not have it.
Yeah.
And to also, because, Asshole and Mr. BoomerRex tend to overspeak sometimes, and they get into stuff that I don't understand. So it's easy for me to ask questions so that you at home who are listening can understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I will listen to you guys and just gloss over, like, no idea what you're talking about right now. And I think that's important to have the different perspectives.
No, because politics is effectively the longest running soap opera in American history.
Right.
So, part of it is if you watch a soap opera every day or any show every day, you don't, right, you're fast forwarding through the previously on, I was there.
Yeah.
That's not the whole thing. Oh, that's cute how you cut that to make it look like those two things happen. Well played. But if you don't have that, if that, like, again, this is literally what I do instead of sports. The sports analogy we were talking about between the pre-show and this of.
Wait.
So I'm being told not to gesticulate wildly with my cigarette.
Yeah. No, it's making me nervous.
Yeah, no what?
Like I'm gonna get stabbed. It's not gonna be fun.
So, no, that you really can view the play-by-play on it. The fact that the Democrats came out today in Arizona and smacked Kirsten Sinema for falling short, right? That they expected her to fight for all Arizonans' right to vote because it's a fundamental right and yada, yada, yada. And she fell short. And that's when they should have shut the fuck up, but it's Democrats.
Oh no, what did they do?
So they just kept talking. They didn't have anything. Like, that's the problem, right? They're not...
They need to learn to be precise and succinct. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they need to, at this point, they need to be seriously looking at who they're going to endorse as a primary challenger to her, right? And lay that groundwork. Or just start announcing the, indefinite challenger and be like, the Democratic Party can't wait to support her primary challenger to the full extent that we can. Because she does not represent Arizona Democrats or something.
Blah, blah, blah.
Get off the stage. Just come out, say a bad thing because she didn't vote the way we wanted her to on the filibuster rule change. And we're there.
Yeah. No, and again, I a little bit worry about getting... I believe that we need to get rid of the filibuster, but I believe that we cannot do that safely until we have voting rights secured. Does this make sense? Because without proper voting rights, you're not going to have proper turnout of proper representation of the people of the United States to get the right people in place to actually cover this is what the people as a whole want rather than just a small percentage.
I was saying to BoomerRex that it annoys me to no end that the Democrats aren't already driving a get out the vote campaign. That, they're going to change the rules. That's cool. We can read rules. We know what they mean. If we don't, we'll go to court and ask somebody, and then we can know what they mean, and then we'll do that. We're going to jump through whatever hoops. We're Americans. You're not going to take away our right to vote.
Yeah.
And I would make it that argument of they want to take away the right of Americans to vote.
Great. How do we stop this?
Yeah.
By following their fucking stupid laws to the T and getting out there and voting. I don't care what your side you're on or whatever the case may be. I don't care what you believe in. You need to vote. You need to use that constitutional right every chance you get. Midterms, major things, small things, everything that's happening, you need to vote for. End of discussion, period.
Well, and the mistake that Democrats have been making for at least 30 years my family knows of failing to establish a heavy understanding of Democrat brand. Right, that they're a Democrat. And yes, we should have a litmus test. Yes, there should not be any pro-life Democrats.
No.
Yeah. That if you're not pro-choice, you're not a Democrat.
Right.
Now, we can do, I am willing to invest heavily in orphanages or whatever the fuck we need. Right? Because yes, like every normal human being, I'd love it if that wasn't an option. Right. Not an option. If that wasn't a necessity.
Right.
But
the fact that we don't have enough proper foster care, right? And the problem with foster care is that a lot of these foster care families are not being appropriately monitored because we don't have the people to do it.
Hey, the religious...
It would be easier to put them in orphanages where they can be heavily regulated. And,
yes.
Yeah.
That the children can literally be trooped out and inspected by a disinterested adult to at least be like, that's a fucking hickey, buddy. Where'd that come from? You and the girl, okay, that's fine, or whatever. Like, I need to know. Is that faculty or students?
Touch you in your no-no place this week.
No, at the same time, it infuriates me that we can't go 6 months without finding some story. Did you see the one about the pastor who had the slaves?
No.
Yeah. So he had some mentally and physically disabled people locked in his basement.
What?
8 of them, to be. They were running an illegal halfway house or whatever. Only, halfway basement. Yeah. Oops.
I have no words. That is horrifying.
Because the door to the basement was double locked, the EMTs had to climb in through a window to the basement to render aid to the person who had a seizure. Some of them had been denied their medication, they're saying. So, yeah.
This is why I will never want to get rid of capital punishment. I feel like there are some cases in which the crime is so egregious and proven. Because here's my thing. If you don't have at least 2 or 3 witnesses or whatever the case may be, if you don't have hardcore proof that this is what happened, then no, you should not be put to death for that, right? That I'm fine with. You can go to jail for life, and I'm fine with that. Yep. But if you do a horrific thing that truly is just monstrous and just truly mind-boggling, like if a normal person looks at that and just wants to vomit a lot, like, you should be killed for that. I'm sorry. Like, bleh. Vomit.
I come from a family who fully supports capital punishment, basically for the kinds of cases where you'd want to do it with your bare hands.
Oh, yeah.
You'd want to make it weird. Yeah. And we can't, obviously, because we're humans. We're not going to make it weird.
No.
Because the point is to kill them, right? That they have no more tomorrows.
Right.
That's it. You're like, you lose the rest of your turns, fucker.
Yeah.
So, nitrogen box, whatever, I don't care. Just get them dead. Make it not weird. Doesn't even need to hurt. Hanging, I'm a big fan of, because it, like a drop hanging.
A proper hanging done properly is probably the best.
Yeah. Firing squad, I don't really care. Like, I'm less comfortable with the fucking lethal injection.
Yeah, lethal injection gets weird.
Yeah, and shitty.
And people survive it.
That's the thing, and like, I don't know how the fuck that's true, because I don't know why the second syringe isn't, right. All of the heroin we found this year.
That's another thing. Why can't we literally just give them a drug that will literally OD them and stop their heart? End of discussion. So at least they can have a bit of a high or whatever before they die.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly the problem, is we don't want them to enjoy any, and like, fuck it.
They don't give a shit as long as they're dead in a quote-unquote humane manner. Whatever people agree is humane, I'm fine with.
I'm a huge fan. Hard to describe how much a fan I am of a nitrogen box, because it's like cool, and if it's heavier than air, it will just fill in the hole. So you you walk them into the thing, shut the door, kick them off the edge. I don't care. Right, fill it in.
Into the pit you go.
This is Sparta or whatever. I don't like.
I am Sparta.
You're gonna die, bro. You're fine. Fuck off. Pump it in, walk away for half an hour, come back. They haven't had oxygen for half an hour. They dead as shit. Then you can suck it out the bottom, and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah,
it sounds simple.
Oklahoma talked about it, which is crazy because Oklahoma routinely scores as one of the most conservative states, and like that'd be really easy. Like, I could build this.
It's a good job, guys. Like, let's do this.
Give me some bits to build an aquarium and some pumps, and like I could do this. So it's really easy, guys.
Okay. So anyway, let's talk about Howard Stern going off on Joe Rogan and the tennis.
So I have to preface this with I grew up listening to Howard Stern. I have a fond spot for early 90s Stern.
Yeah.
And again, part of it is it's like we've discussed that we have basically the same trajectory on South Park.
Right.
That it was incredibly funny when I was of an age.
Yeah.
And then I turned 16.
Yeah. And you're just like, whatever.
Saying wildly, inappropriate shit is funny, I guess, but it's also not going to get girls to take their tops off, so I very much focused in one area. So, I don't know. But
anyway, so he went off on a rant.
He did. He was out talking about Joe Rogan, and he's just done with the anti-vaxxers, right?
Oh, yeah.
He said in his own perfect world they wouldn't be allowed hospital visits, and I'm not sure about that one, but I get where you're coming from, man. Like, I can't, but, yeah, no, the fuck, man. And he made the point to Joe Rogan, which I think is incredibly things, because Joe Rogan's not a small-time person. I doubt he'll come back, but we'll see. Howard Stern's point being that Joe Rogan went and got horse dewormer.
Yeah.
He got ivermectin, and it's got a lot of uses. And it even won a Nobel Prize for a whole different thing that wasn't related to this, but sure. But Howard Stern pointed out the doctor also would have given you the vaccination. And yeah, like, why not just take the vaccination and leave the horse dewormer?
Yeah, like that fucking idiot that was all like, was she 52? The old 52-year-old, I think. Anyway, so she decided to get COVID.
Oh, yes.
Now her son and her husband both got COVID, but they were fully vaccinated, so they were fine. But she decided that she wanted to be able to go out and do things, which in certain countries, as we know, you're not allowed to go out and do things unless you A, are vaccinated, or B, have had COVID and recovered. So anyway, she gives herself COVID and then is like, oh, I'm feeling better and I'm going to be able to do things and blah, blah, blah. And she felt good enough that she went out for a fucking walk, came home, laid down, and ended up choking to death.
Yep.
On what? I don't know. Maybe her tongue or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not sure. But it was because of COVID. COVID fucking killed her.
Yep.
Like, whoa, dude.
No, she killed her. Like,
Right.
I'm not saying it's a suicide or nothing, Lynn.
No. But she made choices which led to her own death. Yeah.
Bad choices.
Yeah.
Like, at some level, we will be better for this at the other side, I believe.
I don't know.
There has always been a seductive voice in American politics whispering that we could just imagine our way to shit. It's literally the entire point of the book The Secret and almost every other self-help book out there.
Right.
That with the power of positive thinking and nonsense with this one weird pill, the electric company doesn't want you to know this one weird trick that, we really are an infomercial, country. Right, that you can eat chocolate cake and lose weight. Yeah, if you're doing Tony Montana levels of fucking coke, but...
Yeah, or, making, some really nasty cake.
Yeah, but we want the short, easy answers, right? It's to bring back to the letting these people rehabilitate themselves in the public eye.
Right.
It's done because it makes us feel better about forgiving them for the monstrous and horrible shit we don't actually have to deal with, see, acknowledge, or understand.
Yeah. Again, if you don't have your COVID shots, just fucking go get them.
Yeah.
Just fucking go get them. It's easy peasy. It costs nothing. Right now. I don't know if that's going to change, but I would certainly get on it.
Yeah.
While the getting's good. There's no lines, no waiting. Call your local pharmacy, they'll fucking hook you up. Call your local Walmart pharmacy, they will hook you up. Seriously. And also get your regular flu shot too, as we have learned.
Fair.
It's important. But anyway, I wanted to discuss, as my thing for the evening, mental health and religion. Now, we've been talking for a while about doing a mental health deep dive, right? Going back to when there used to be
Bedlam.
Bad thing, when they
sanitarium.
Yeah, sanitariums and that sort of stuff. Why those were taken down and what could have been done to make them better, that sort of stuff. So we'll have that discussion and move all the way up to how we treat mental illness today.
Yep.
But tonight I want to, as kind of like a precursor, like a teaser to, this future thing, I want to talk about the problems of it. So when people have mental health issues, a lot of other people's responses are, you need Jesus, or God will save you if you read the Bible, and that's suddenly going to cure you. And here's my thing. I'm not against your religion, whatever that may be. But I also will say that most problems people have, religion cannot solve. Or religion doesn't have an answer. And if you feel like it does, and that works for you, great. I am super happy for you. But when you're Bible bashing on... I've recently joined some groups to see what's going on in, people's lives and stuff with depression and that sort of stuff as part of, figuring out what's going on. And a little bit to help myself because I was at one point in my life suicidal with a plan. And I know what that does. And I had a friend recently who went through a similar thing. And it kind of brings things back, right? So when you go through this situation where you have suicidal thoughts or suicidal tendencies, you're never really get over it. It's kind of always there. And a lot of people don't want to accept that, right? They're like, oh, if I just go to counseling or whatever, I'm going to be better, and then it'll be fine after that. Or I'll take this medication and that's going to fix it. And no. Once you have this problem, you truly have it for the rest of your life. This is a daily struggle. And maybe not daily. Like, as you get better and as you learn...
Well, specifically to religion's going to be actively unhelpful on that, because religion has an incredibly dim view. Almost all religions have an incredibly dim view on suicide.
Exactly. So it's hard for people to go to their priest or pastor or whatever and say, I'm feeling these things and I don't know what to do. Yeah. Because then the response is, well, God looks down upon that, so you must not do that, and there's your answer.
It's a moral sin.
No, but that's not the answer. But my point is that...
No, there are perfectly actively times that, like, self-termination is the right answer, but...
Yeah, and I'm not supporting that, and I'm not saying you should do that. If you
I feel you endorse your right to off yourself the internet.
No, if
right after you sign up for Patreon, like Quitters Club.
But
everything I have.
But no, see now I've lost my.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. But
he was all serious. I had to make bad jokes until somebody laughed.
That's fair. So I feel like. With mental health, a lot of people feel like it's an open and shut case, which it's not. And I really have been seeing on these
forums... I feel
forums,
tragically bad for those humans, because that means whatever they went through, they didn't learn much.
Right, and in these groups and forums, a lot of people's answer is God or Jesus.
Right.
Religion will save you, and that's all you need. And I'm like, no, that's not all you need. You also need a counselor or a doctor or a psychiatrist or a psychologist, whatever your issue is.
You need whatever you need to take a proper inventory of what the fuck's going on with your life and what idiot-ass patterns do you continuously do. Now find new ways to make different patterns.
It is helpful to speak to somebody whose sole job and sole experience is... not sole experience, but one of their experiences is helping other people through similar problems that you are having. So you can look up counselors that deal with PTSD specifically, or PTSD caused by violence in a relationship, or, you know what I mean? Like, you can find very specific counselors that focus on very specific things if that's what you need. Some work specifically with trauma cases, some work specifically with, family issues, right? Or childhood problems, that as an adult you now need to kind of sort out in your head to not find closure, because we just discussed the fact that closure is bullshit, but to be able to move on with your life and say, that's not a part of me anymore. And that's hard for people. And I feel like the pushing of religion doesn't help.
Because the pushing of anything as an easy answer doesn't help.
Yeah, there are no easy answers. And I really hate when people are talking on these forums and they say stuff like, oh, you should take this, St. John's wort or vitamin D or vitamin A. And I agree, you should go to your doctor, because in some instances it is imbalances.
It's a fucking multivitamin drive on.
Yeah. So try multivitamins, see if that helps. Go to your doctor, get a blood panel, see if you're low on something, and maybe that'll help. Maybe just go outside in the sunlight for a little while. That makes a huge difference for people, and you don't even think about it until you do it. But pushing religion when people are having real mental health issues is not helpful. It's never going to be helpful. Because here's the thing, if their problem was religious, and they are religious, and they believe in God or Jesus, I promise you, they've already looked there.
Since looking at brain scans, you can't tell the difference between a human being high on God, high on money, or high on cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not who should be making any fucking choices.
No, and you're not helping people by saying, oh, go to church, because that's the fuck is going to church going to do for you? Church doesn't understand that your uncle touched you in your no-no square when you were a kid, and now you feel fucking weird about it because maybe you're gay and maybe you're not, and you don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking weird. Maybe you liked it. Maybe you feel weird about liking it. I don't know. What's your fucking problem? But my point is that fucking going to church doesn't fucking help that shit.
Actually, religion is not an actual answer for much.
Don't. And stop pushing it, right? Like,
Right, that's never gonna happen. Like,
it just makes me sick. I got into a fight in the comment section, and not really a fight because I was super polite. I'm very polite, and I write very meticulously when I reply to people. But basically they were like, "Oh, well, they should go to God," and I was like, "They should go to a counselor, right? Like, they should talk to a doctor. They should talk to a family member or a friend or someone who understands or knows what they've been through, or maybe someone who's been through something similar. Maybe a group like this is good for them, and they just
but
need
generically prescribing that they need to go into a church.
right.
Yeah, that's less
Just go
helpful.
talk to God. Like,
Yeah. And again, that can.
I'm sitting in my room right now talking to God. God, make it better. Nope, didn't work.
Nope, bots. But they're probably not. And again, I said that my biggest concern about these people is, that's a human who had some shit happen to them, and they did the God thing and learned very the fuck little.
No,
Like,
either they buried
carrying all that baggage.
Yeah, and they just buried it deep down inside of them, and they cover it up with their God talk.
Yeah, no, I'm a firm believer in.
If that works for you, great.
Want to avoid
I don't
having
recommend
baggage. Learn the lesson from the mistakes. Drive on.
Right.
Otherwise, that shit's going to be heavy and with you for a long time and lock you into bad, simple answers. Because there are I don't know how anyone could be alive enough to have gotten to our podcast in, the modern world.
Right.
Without understanding that life is fucking hard and complicated, and no, short essay is going to be a complete, grand, unified theory of, so here's how lives work. Because, no, other people are coloring other coloring books, and
Right.
Lord knows what they're drawing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to help them deal with that shit.
No, and for me, I just feel like, shut up. You're making fun of my fucking judging me.
I don't judge you.
Judgy McJudgerton.
Literally don't judge anybody. I'm just here to pick up the pieces. And occasionally laugh when you're fighting with dum-dums on the internet, because someone is wrong on the internet.
Yeah, but you have to admit, I'm very good at what I do.
Absolutely.
When I comment on things like that.
No, and I agree with your point of, right, because again, they're not talking, right, I could easily do 5 minutes on, right, yes, there's plenty of benefit of going to their local church. It'll get them in touch with a local support network. But the church probably knows some people they can talk to. It's like, if nothing else, if it's a modern, good church, it knows at least a little bit about some touch me issues, because we're a church. And I don't know if our church has touched anybody, but churches have. And so that's why I looked up the number of the local They Touched Me doctor.
Yes.
So.
Also, if you yourself.
But that's not what they mean.
Right.
They mean it as some simple, you just pray hard enough and listen to that little voice. And no, that's really creepy, because that means you're underwriting all your own batshit.
Right. No, but if you yourself are suffering with, mental health issues, or if you are feeling suicidal thoughts or tendencies, there is a suicide hotline. I don't know the number offhand, but literally it's just a Google suicide USA suicide hotline, or whatever country you're in. They all have them, I believe. Most of them should. But anyway, you can call a suicide hotline and talk to somebody, and they can get you in touch with people in your local area.
You should go to our Patreon and sign up. The number you want to call if you're thinking about killing yourself is 1-800-273-8255.
There you go. That's the number.
I did a whole thing for you, the internet. Give me $1.
Give
my cat $1.
Yeah, give
cool
Barnabas the $1. So that I can get a notebook. I always need notebooks.
You take so many notes. It's insane.
I go through notebooks
It was
like water.
Go back to our early episodes. I think in one of them she talks about, but I could sell them. And then now she's realized, oh no, I can't. I've written crazy things in the margins.
Well, no.
There's timestamps to delete names, and no, we can't.
You can't share this with anybody.
No. So maybe we'll set it up as a Sunday art project. You can just fill out bullshit journals and we'll sell those. No, I guess we'll have to cut this at the 4-minute mark.
So, anyway. Yeah, no, my point is that mental health is not a joke. And mental health is not something that you can just throw religion at and make it better. If you believe in religion and you go to church and that's what helps you, I think that's wonderful. And that's great for you. Stop shoving it down other people's throats, because if that's all they needed, or if that's all they wanted, they would have done that.
My assumption is if you're casting into the internet for a lifeline, you tried all of the shit humans could think of.
Well, and the worst part is that some of these are like literal kids. They're like 18, 19-year-olds that people are like, oh, Jesus is the answer. And I'm like, they probably don't believe in God at all, you dumbass. Like, we're talking Gen Zers. Like, God? The fucking internet is their God, people, okay? Like, you're barking up the wrong tree here.
That's what got them here in the first place.
Like, they believed that, you know, their boyfriend snacking them around a little bit was okay because that's what you told them. Fuck off! That's what God said. It's fine.
Kids grew up on the internet. They've seen the time knife. It's fine.
It's the time knife.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't think about it.
Good night, the internet.
All right.
Yeah.
So, nope. That was it. Yeah. No, there was no other page.
Yeah.
this is
really that little. You didn't do enough interesting stuff today, the internet. Thanks.
Yeah, no, fucking do something good. Like, Jesus.
Sign up for our Patreon.
Yeah.
Give me $1.
If you sign up for a Patreon, we'll probably talk about you, like, a lot.
Yeah.
Like, a lot. Because, wow, that would be amazing. You have no idea how happy that would make me.
Barnabas, sign up for our Patreon.
And I posted all the pictures, from the, from the photo shoot we did on our Patreon. So, for some reason, the pictures have been doing weird things when I put them into the YouTube. So, like, they'll turn sideways for unknown reasons, and you can't fix it. Like, I can re-upload it, but it'll just do the same thing. One of them did something weird with the color, so it's, like, blue, and I'm like, that's not... Anyway, so to get the real good pictures, the high quality, whatever... you have to sign up for our Patreon.
Real pictures of a live girl, the internet.
Yeah, so that's going to be one of our Path of the Barnabas members.
Yep, she's naked under her clothes.
That is one of the benefits you get, which I did not add into the list. So you'll get early photo shoot photos, or better ones, like full ones. My nose thing, my cold sore is starting to get better, so I'm hoping. What day is today? Thursday. So maybe not this weekend, but maybe sometime next week, I'll be able to do another photo shoot. Hopefully I'll be cleared up by then. We'll see. This cold, or flu or whatever we have, passing around between us. I think we gave it to the cats for a while too, because the cats were throwing up for like 3 days straight. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And it was weird because it wasn't just one of them. It was like all of them, which was just strange. But yeah, whatever it was, definitely, left its mark on my poor nose from having to blow my nose all the time. So anyway.
Watch this, the internet.
Wait, what?
Yep. During a hearing, cleaning his gun. Yeah.
Are you even allowed
the internet
to have guns in the courtroom?
That's not a courtroom. It's just a congressional hearing.
Are you even allowed to have guns?
I think it was on a Zoom meeting, but...
That's even worse! That's threatening!
No. He wasn't threatening them with it. He was just, as his spokesperson said, what could be more America? Guns and veterans. I'm like, well...
What if I called him and was having just a casual conversation cleaning my gun? That would be weird, right? Tell me that wouldn't be weird.
We'll talk more about it tomorrow night, the internet. Come back.
Oh my God. Yeah, I have to read this story. This is fucking ridiculous. Alright, love y'all!
Good dreams.
Like, comment, subscribe! Do all the things!
Give my cat $1.
We love